What is going on, y'all? GamersGoon here today, and today we are going to react to the AP Top 25 that just got released, and here we go. So we're gonna start off just reading the teams that got votes. They didn't get in, but they did get votes. And we are starting off with Louisiana Lafayette. I'm not believing in them. Colorado does make sense. Dion's got them right. They have a QE battle brewing. I think they're going to be a solid team. Top 25, I don't know. Army, they'll probably flirt with top 25. Makes sense. Pittsburgh, I'm out on Pittsburgh this year, to be honest with you. TCU, I am out on. Iowa makes sense. The defense is going to keep them alive. Navy, service school, they'll probably have a pretty good season. Liberty, I'm out on Liberty, to be honest with you. Caden Salter no longer there. I am out on Liberty. Duke could be interesting. Darian Mensah at QB. They might flirt with top 25. I respect it. Florida State at 8. Thomas Castellanos is their QB. Do that information what you will. I'm not very high on Florida State. Memphis, I do really like this Memphis team. I had them in my top 25. I am a believer. I'm a believer in this Memphis team. James Madison, they'll probably be one of the better teams in their conference. I don't think they're going to be as good as years past, though. Auburn, there's been some buzz about Auburn. I mean, Auburn's always going to be one of those buzzy schools preseason. Haven't really seen it the last few years. I'm not necessarily in on Auburn. Toledo, you're looking at a team here, once again, going to be, I think they're in the MAC. Either way, not a great conference. UNLV, I really like UNLV. I think they could be a top 25 team. Wouldn't have been upset if they were. Nebraska, I don't know about Nebraska, man. I think I'm out on Nebraska. I think I'm going to be out on Nebraska this year. Tulane makes sense. They're always going to be one of the better teams in their conference. Missouri, I do like this Missouri team. Georgia Tech getting some votes. I don't know if I'm in on Georgia Tech. USC, I think a lot of people are in on USC this year. They could easily be one of those teams that surprise people. I could see them being top 20, maybe even top 12 and get a playoff spot. Louisville, I like this Louisville team, but they are out on them for now. Baylor, they do have a really good running back. Other than that, though, I'm not super high on Baylor. I think I forget the running back's name, but he is pretty good. Utah, they're Dampier, their QB. I think he's pretty solid. Utah could be a team that flirts with top 25. BYU was in my top 25, so nothing crazy there. Boise State at 25 makes sense. Their competition level in the Mountain West is not very good, so you never know. You could be like last year, and Boise State could get into the playoffs regardless. But Boise State in the Mountain West, I think, belongs in the top 25. I don't know how high necessarily you can have them. Tennessee, new QB Joey Aguilar, more likely than not, is their guy. They do slide with no Nico Amaliava. I think Nico was good for Tennessee, but I don't think he was everything. I think Tennessee will probably be better than this season. Texas Tech has gained a lot of buzz. A lot of buzz. People, obviously not the A people, but like you listen to podcasts and stuff, people have Texas Tech like as high as like top 10. They are going to be one of those buzzy teams. They always seem to be, kind of like A&M. We'll see if Texas Tech can amount to something this year. Obviously, no Tyler Shuck there. Iowa State, a team I really like. Rocco Becht is back. I think they definitely belong in the top 25. I don't hate where they're at, but I would have them a little bit higher. Ole Miss, I think maybe the QB issue here. No longer having Jackson Dart, I assume it's gonna be like Austin Simmons. Ole Miss not having a guarantee at the QB position probably is what has them sliding down. So I don't hate them there. I would rearrange a lot of this order, but I don't I'm not shocked that they are there. Indiana. Indiana probably a little lower than I would have them. Fernando Mendoza is going to be their QB. They picked up a few offensive linemen coming off a good year. Kurt Signetti, it is getting tougher, their schedule this year, so they're going to have to adjust to that. But I do think this Indiana team is similar to last year's. A&M, A&M, always a buzzy team. They have the talent to be a top 5 team in the country. We just never really seen it get all put together for A&M. Maybe this is their year. I really like them here at this spot though. Make A&M prove it before like skyrocketing. Oklahoma, John Mateer's there, Jaden Ott's there. They definitely could be in this spot, but I'm out on Oklahoma as a top 25 team. I think I don't think I like them here. I would have them probably fall out of the top 25, maybe replace them with either BYU or Memphis teams down here. I really like Louisville. Also could be in that mix as well. Um, Kansas State. I like their QB Avery Johnson. I think they'll probably be in this range. They might even not be ranked. They might be just on the outside once the season starts to really get underway by like week 4 or 5. I could see Kansas State not being ranked, but I do think they're going to be a tough team. SMU sliding. I've talked about this. Their return to QB. I like this team. A little bit of a tricky schedule. Don't know if they'll stick top 25, but I do like this team. Florida. DJ Lagway's banged up. I think he'll be good to go by week 1 or their first game. Eugene Wilson is banged up as well, from my understanding. That doesn't necessarily mean they shouldn't be top 15, right? Because you're not contributing like injuries and stuff to just like who we think the best 25 teams are in college football. I don't know if Florida's going to stick around that. I could see them struggling a little bit in the SEC as well. They'll probably fall into the 20s, if not even outside of the top 25. I don't like Florida this high. I definitely don't like Michigan this high. Michigan last year did not have a good year. They obviously beat Ohio State though, which is kind of their calling card. But you're looking at a team that just lost Loveland, right? I mean, yes, they have Bryce Underwood now, but it's a freshman QB. It's a freshman QB. I don't trust freshman QBs to have a team like Michigan in the top 14. Maybe top 25, but I am not this high on Michigan whatsoever. South Carolina, Shane Beamer and company. Lenore Sellers is going to be one of the best QBs in this year's college football season. Definitely belongs there. Nicholas Harbor as well. Really, really good. I think Dylan Stewart is still on this team as well. Team loaded with talent. Definitely deserving there of a top 13 spot. Illinois, I think, just getting the edge on South Carolina because we beat South Carolina. But 2 teams here that are really loaded. Illinois loading up now. They did lose Josh McCray to the portal, but Aiden Lawfrey was kind of 1B to Josh McCray at times. Khalil Valentine's shown a lot. Caden Fegan, when he's been healthy, has been really solid for Illinois, and that's just the running back position. Altmaier, probably one of the top 2 or 3 QBs in the entire Big Ten. You return a lot of your defense, Gabe Yakus, Kreutz. You return most of your entire offensive line. Receiver room is shaken up a little bit. Hudson Clement and some guys, Malik Elzy and some of those guys, Colin Dixon, guys that are still returning but haven't really gotten the opportunity because you had Zakari and Pat Bryant last year and Pat Bryant the year prior with Isaiah Williams. So there's a little bit of freshness to that receiver room, which could potentially be the thing that does hold Illinois back, but I do think they are. I think this is a good spot for them, especially because you're going to probably see them jump inside the top 10 if one of these teams lose. I mean, well, some of these teams play each other, but if like an Arizona State loses week 1 or whatever, Illinois could jump inside that top 10 because I think they play Western Illinois. Arizona State, I think this is a good spot for them. They obviously lost Scadaboo, but they do return Jordan Tyson. They do return Sam Levitt. I think those 2 are going to be enough to potentially even win the Big 12. Kenny Dillingham, I think, is one of the best coaches in college football. I know it's been a 1-year sample size because of the year prior was not the greatest with Arizona State, but I do think he is a really good coach, and I think he will have this Arizona State team competing yet again. I don't know if they're a playoff team this year because you are missing Scadaboo. I think their running back's Udo, which is a slight downgrade, right? Because Scadaboo was drafted in the third or fourth round, a very, very talented player. Miami, they have Carson Beck now. Um, Miami's a tricky one though, man. I don't see, like, they moved them up 8 spots. Miami has talent, but they're kind of in the same sense as an A&M for me. I don't see Carson Beck being that much contributing that much more than what Cam Ward did, right? I think Cam Ward is way better. I think Cam Ward is somebody that had that Miami team kind of playing at a level that they really didn't belong at, if that makes sense. He elevated the play of a lot of that Miami team. You lost Xavier Restrepo as well, Damian Martinez. I think they have a moving up 8. I think it's more likely Miami takes a step backwards rather than forwards. I don't think Carson Beck is bad, but I definitely don't think he is Cam Ward levels of good. So Miami, I don't necessarily love this spot for them. LSU, super talented. They're going to have Nussmeier as a QB. I think he might be banged up a little bit from what I was reading the other day. I think he'll be good to go for the season opener, though. Nussmeier, though, I think is one of the best QBs, if not the best QB, in the entire, not just the SEC, but the entire country. So for that, I don't mind him here at 9. I think the defense will be solid. You're gonna be interesting to see the playmakers around Nussmeier. Alabama at 8. I'm gonna be honest, that's name value. They finished down 9 last year. I think Simpson's gonna be their QB this season. Ryan Williams will be very solid, but Kalen DeBoer and company have got to prove it in the SEC first. I get it. It's Alabama. Alabama's just historically good. I would not have Alabama that high in the top 8. I don't even know if I'd have them top 10, to be honest with you. I'm not a big fan of that spot for Alabama. Number 7 is Oregon. I think this is fair. I really do. I'm an Oregon fan, so obviously I would hope to see us higher. But first year, Dante Moore, your number 1 receiver looks to be a freshman in Decorian Moore. Kenyon Sadiq, it's his first season as a tight end number 1. A lot of new faces on the offensive line. Emmanuel Pregnon, Alex Harkey. You got Isaiah World. You have Matthew Bedford, who is in his second year at Oregon but didn't play much last year. So you have new faces there. The DB room is also kind of like the receiver room, where it's a lot of talent based off like high school recruiting and Teron Johnson and Jaden Kennedy, guys that they got in the portal, but there's not really the premier names that you've seen the last couple of years. There's no Jabbar Muhammad. Nico Reed made a name for himself defensively. Obviously, a receiver, Evan Stewart, but he's banged up and will likely not play until late in the season, if at all. There's no Tez in the room. There's no Dylan Gabriel, Bo Nix, whatever. I think it's fair to say Oregon, the best. I mean, they have the talent to be really, really good. They have, if everybody hits their like peak potential, it could be a national championship team. Problem is, we haven't seen it out of a lot of those guys, so I do think that is a fair spot. But then you kind of mix in the guys that return, Mateo Wangale, Bryce Betcher. It's a good team. I think 7 is definitely fair. Notre Dame, I kind of feel bad for Notre Dame, right? Because I think they could be a little bit higher. I believe they're gaining some offensive linemen that were hurt last year back. They're obviously returning Jeremiah Love. CJ Carr will be their QB. Obviously, there is no more Riley Leonard. Riley Leonard is no longer there as their QB. But I was never super in the camp of Riley Leonard being like an irreplaceable quarterback. I think Notre Dame will be fine. Georgia, this is probably about where I would expect Georgia to be honest with you. Gunnar Stockton, I don't know that he's much better than Carson Beck. We'll see this year. But you expect the same thing out of Georgia every year. Really good defense, really good trench at play. The playmakers will have to make plays to make the QB look good. I don't necessarily think their QB play has been great the last couple years. I mean, they've had guys like Jake Fromm that have done the job, right? But I don't necessarily think they've been great. But you can, when you have a guy like Brock Bowers on your room, makes you look pretty good. Josh McCray's on this team now, potentially the lead back. I think there's 2 freshmen there in that room as well that are very highly touted to potentially be the Georgia back there. Next, we get to Clemson at 4. A little high on Clemson here. I think Clemson and LSU should probably be around the same spot. But if I look at Clemson, Cade Klubnik's back, right? They have that receiver that's back. Williams, I think his name is. Wesco's back. Dabo has already came out and said he wants to be the first team to go 16-0. The schedule makes it possible. We'll see if Clemson can do it. TJ Moore, I believe, is on this team as well. It has a team loaded with talent that is unlike Oregon, right? The guys that have seen the field. Clemson could definitely make a run this year. I wouldn't be this high on them just yet. Simply because this is a very similar team than last year, but it's just a more experienced team. Klubnik, though, will be one of the better QBs in the class. Him and Nussmeier are probably number 1 and 2 in this year's college football season. Then we get Ohio State at 3. I'm surprised they're not at 2 to set up the 1-2 matchup between Ohio State and Texas to start the season. But I think this is fair. I really do. I don't think you look at Ohio State. I get it. They're the national champions. You would expect them to be either 1 or 2, right? I think this is fair. You're working in a new QB. We all assume it's going to be Julian Sayin, right? Jeremiah Smith is there. Carnell Tate is there. Brandon Ennis is there. Lost some pieces on the defensive side, but returned like Caleb Downs. Still going to be a team loaded with talent. Still going to be a top 25 team. Easily top 10 probably as well. I do think, though, you can't sit here and comfortably say that they are number 1, number 2 without seeing what the QB play is going to look like and seeing who steps up in the place of guys that have left, like Jack Sawyer or Tyleik Williams or some of those guys, right? So Ohio State at 3, I think, is very fair. Now, I will argue that I think Penn State probably has a claim at number 1. I'm going to be honest. I think they could have a claim at number 1. Drew Aller's back. The 2 running backs, Singleton and Katron Allen are back. You look at their trench play. It's always really, really good. Tight end, obviously, you lose Tyler Warren, but guess what? Tight end's not really one of those premier positions that separate you. It's a bonus to have a really good tight end. I don't necessarily think it's the end-all, be-all that you have to have a good tight end to win a championship. The defense will always be really good. I think this Penn State team's got definitely a claim at number 1. I don't hate them at number 2, though. Texas at number 1. I'm not going to say I hate it because I do think they're at least a top 4 team in the country. They got the talent, same thing, to an more extreme level of an Ohio State. Everybody is very eager to say Arch Manning is going to be great. I'm not saying Arch Manning won't be great. I am saying that I need to see him do it for more than a game or 2 when he's gotten chances. I need to see him do for a whole season. Now, is he capable of doing that? We'll see. Week 1 will be very telling when he goes up against Ohio State. Is that moment too big for Arch Manning? I don't know. We'll get to see it, though. I do think Texas will be a top 5 team by the end of the year. To put them at number 1 right now, though, is a little bit too eager for me. I would probably have Penn State in there. Maybe Ohio State to show them the respect. But yeah, so really the only thing I see here that I don't completely agree with, I can talk myself into a lot of teams. Oklahoma's probably a little too high for me. Michigan, Florida, probably a little too high for me as well. Notre Dame, probably a little bit maybe too low for me. And Alabama, a little bit too high for me. This I'm not going to say anything about really, but I think the glaring thing for me is probably this Michigan team. Um, I don't know if they'll be a top 14 team. I'm going to be honest. Oklahoma, I can see it. Michigan, I'm not. They could be top 25. I don't know if they'll be top 14. I don't know. Um, but a lot of these teams are loaded with talent, so that's a fun thing, right? Anyways, thank you for watching, and I will see you all next time. You like that transition? I can't get this thing to do it when I'm not on the screen, so you will have those. You get to see the OBS. So there you go. Anyways, see you guys next time.